Hello friends and welcome back. Today I'm going to be starting a brand new series that I've been really excited about starting, and that is doing Stardew Valley food recipes. This is something that I thought about doing after my Stardew Valley luau that I hosted for my friends, so I hope you guys enjoy. We will be starting with maple bar. For this recipe you will need 1.5 cups milk, warmed, 1/4 cup butter, melted, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 2 tablespoons white sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 2 teaspoons yeast, 2 eggs beaten, and 4.5 cups flour. These ingredients are for the actual bar of the recipe. Here is what you need for the frosting. 2 tablespoons butter, 1 tablespoon heavy cream. I did not have heavy cream, so I used half and half. 2 tablespoons dark brown sugar, 2 tablespoons maple syrup, 1 cup powdered sugar or more as needed. This recipe today comes from a blog called In at the Crossroads. I will be linking it down in the description below. Combine the warm milk, melted butter, sugars, salt, cinnamon, and yeast in a large mixing bowl. Mix in the eggs, then gradually work in the flour until you have a dough that isn't too sticky. Turn out the dough on a lightly floured surface and knead for several minutes until soft and bouncy. Place in a clean, lightly buttered bowl, cover, and set somewhere warm to rise for around an hour or until doubled in size. So I found out during this recipe, which was something that I was a little bit worried about based on recipes I've made in the past, and that my yeast is old, which means that my dough is not going to rise properly and it will probably end up making my recipe a bit dense. And that is what happened here. So if you see that my dough has not risen throughout this video and that my bars are a little flat, this is why. I will be getting new yeast soon. Like I said, this is something that I've been worried about in the past when I've made like cinnamon rolls and other stuff at home. It hasn't been rising as well. So I probably should have gotten new yeast a while ago, but I didn't. So my yeast is a little old and it's not rising as well as it should for this recipe, just so you guys are aware. Once the dough has risen, roll it out on a lightly floured surface about 3¼ inch thickness. Using a sharp knife, buttering the edge also helps, slice the dough into rectangles. Place these on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. I also did not have any parchment paper, so I just sprayed down my cooking pans really well. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees and let the bars rise for another 30 minutes or so. Bake for about 8 minutes until just golden brown on top. Remove from the oven and let them start to cool while you make the icing. In a small saucepan over medium heat, combine the butter, cream, brown sugar, and maple syrup. Stir occasionally until the sugar has dissolved. Remove from heat and whisk in the powdered sugar a little bit at a time until you have a thick icing with no lumps of sugar remaining. So if you've ever been to a cooking stream of mine, you'll know that I'm a little bit chaotic in the kitchen. This says to add icing, or it says to add powdered sugar a little bit at a time. I dumped it all in right away. I did get clumps, but I just made sure to mix it really well. So if you don't want clumps at all, add your powdered sugar a little bit at a time. Do as I say, not as I do. I dumped mine all in right away. Once the bars are mostly cool, but still just a tad warm, spread a dollop of icing on top of each, spreading it over the dough. The residual heat of the buns and the icing should let some drizzle over the sides, but you want most of the icing to stay on top. So while you're waiting for your buns to cool, let me tell you a little bit about the maple bar. The maple bar will give you quite a few buffs in Stardew when you eat it. It'll give you +1 farming, +1 fishing, +1 mining. The buff lasts for just under 17 minutes. It will give you 225 health, or 225 energy, 101 health, and it will sell for 300 gold. To make the maple bar in Stardew Valley, you will need maple syrup, sugar, and wheat flour. The maple bar is a gift that most of the villagers in the valley will very much enjoy. However, it is loved by Sam. So if you're trying to romance Sam, be sure to gift him some maple bars. However, it is disliked by Krobus, Leo, and Willie. The maple bar is not used in any bundles, however you can use it for tailoring. If you use it in the spool of the sewing machine, it will create a dirt shirt. The maple bar is also not used in any quests, so it's mostly just something that's fun to make in the game. It's fun in the game, and let's see if it's delicious in real life. So, let's give it a taste. It's definitely a little bit dense because my yeast is old, but it's still not bad. The frosting is very good. The frosting is where the maple flavor is. And the rest of it is just a sweet pastry dough. I think if I were to redo this, one, I'd make sure that I have good yeast so that it rises really nicely and becomes really fluffy, because I can tell that this is supposed to be a lot fluffier. Right now, it's kind of just giving Pop-Tart, but it's still quite good. And I've got my coffee here with me as well, of course, to have it with some coffee. And then if I were to do anything else different, I would consider deep frying them. If I could get the dough nice and fluffy, so then it's more like a donut. They're still pretty good though. Like I said, they're a little dense because of my yeast, but it's still quite edible. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes content, early access to videos, and more when you join my Patreon. And be sure to keep up with me live on Twitch to play Stardew Valley with me live. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good rest of your night.